What's up, YouTube? So this is going to be the fall swale tour. Really not much has happened. Grass has grown up, our cover crops. We put in there a lot of clover and chickweed and turnips and harvested tons of turnips. I fermented a lot of those. They're pretty good and they're in the fridge now. Here's one of our sycamore trees that we planted. It's about 6 feet tall, and it was about 12 inches when we planted it. So good growth this year, which makes sense. We had so much rain that everything did really well. We are actually in a drought right now. We haven't had, more than probably an 1/8 inch of rain in the past month. And we got that a couple of days ago, so for the most part we're pretty dry right now. Here's where one of our blowouts happened, and I haven't repaired this yet. I need to come up with some soil to do that with, so that remains unfixed at this point. And we'll go around here and show you that. We've just been kind of mowing a path through this just so we can walk and navigate, and the rest of it we're just kind of letting it go. Over here we have a bunch of wild blackberries, and if any of you have been around those, you know the thorns are brutal, but that's where they chose to grow, so I'm gonna kind of try to keep them contained there in that area. That is a pear tree that will get grafted next season or so. Sorry about the light. Pretty decent size, and some concrete just there for probably wildlife to eat our ducks, but it's not going anywhere. I think that's a cherry tree in there, right there. Here is I believe, honey locust that I started from seed, and I'll probably end up grafting that because I don't want the thorns to deal with. We did some silver maples there. Can't remember the name of this one. I think this is a nitrogen fixing tree that we got from our conservation department. And this is another area of blackberries, wild blackberries. The berries are good. They started producing this year for the first time, so that was cool. I guess I'll walk you over here for a second. Here's the pond, and here's what happens after a month of nothing. It's probably, soil is washed in here probably about 12 inches or so, so it's not as deep as it was, but it's pretty much completely dried up, so I need to see if I can get the machine in here, and I'm just going to try to enlarge this and get it packed in so it'll hold water. A couple more pear trees in there that I'll graft. Best production is pear and blackberry. Silver maple. All these, you can see all these trees that we planted on the swale here. They are growing like crazy, so that'll help hold the swale in. There's a peach tree that we planted this year. That's actually mulch down there, but it definitely needs more, so that'll be a winter project. We'll work on that. And there's a few oak trees in there. They're just taking a while to get going, and eventually these silver maples will come out. Those were just there to get some stuff started in decent size. There's a cornelian cherry back here. I've just been piling sticks around it just to add a little mulch, and we'll make that mulch bigger over the winter so it's a little more protected and keeps the moisture locked in. This is one of the only trees I've ever lost, and I don't even think I've lost it because I planted it and it just never did anything, so I got my money back on that one, and I'll replant it with something. This is another tree that I got, and it's a cherry tree, and it is kind of ridiculous. I don't know why it won't grow any branches, but I think that was a leftover from last year. at the greenhouse that I got it on. This is a peach tree that was a peach pit that just came up in one of my cold frames this spring. So I put it in a pot and let it grow there for a while, and then I moved it out here in May, right after we got done with the swale. And it's pretty decent, 3 feet tall, and I'll prune it up a little bit probably next spring before it starts growing. And we had a Seminole squash growing around there. You can still see one. I'm letting it ripen up a little bit. A couple more. We harvested one the other day. Let's see, more pear trees. Silver maples and sycamores growing on the swale there. You probably can't see very well just because it's so grown up. That sycamore lost its leaves. And this is where some of the best soil is. So you can see some of our cover crop is still hanging out over here, but I think we're past the erosion stage for the most part, other than those areas where it blew out. So I'll have to figure that out and get that fixed. So more pears. We're gonna have a lot of pear trees when we get those all grafted. And over here I've planted some raspberries in here, which are kind of hard to see, but they're doing okay. Oh, it's too far this way. There's one of the raspberries, lost its leaves already. And in there, I'll see if I can get up here and show you some of this stuff. This is some of our fruit producing stuff. This is a jujube, tiny little thorns on it, but I wasn't sure it was going to make it, but it finally started taking off about in August. And this is a pea shrub, I believe, and it's, no, maybe this is the pea shrub. I can't remember. I have it written down somewhere. But we'll see how this stuff does. And an apple tree. This is a Liberty apple planted this year. The Japanese beetles got it pretty good, so it doesn't have a whole lot to go off. But hopefully it'll make it. The rust didn't seem to affect it too bad, which is what I was going for, because we have a real issue with that. But this little path that I'm on right now that you can see, this is kind of what we were going for, and we'll just, all our fruit trees and everything will be along this path basically, with relatively wild areas there in the center. So walk around, harvest, we won't ever have any, this isn't going to be any kind of commercial fruit production, so it'll mostly be us, hand tools, wheelbarrows. But this area we haven't planted up yet, so that will be next year, next spring, maybe some this fall, we'll see. But you can see the swale, more cover crops still hanging out, pear trees, and I planted random stuff all in here. So there's a squash, you can see, and this is really red clay right here, so it did not go as well as some of the other places in the swale, but I don't think we had too much erosion there. It's stayed relatively about the same size. So, and then we're over to our other blowout over here, which you can see, and I have not fixed yet. I'm gonna have to come up with some dirt. I kind of planned on getting some dirt from the pond over here when I start digging that out. So I'll walk around here, and here was where my spillway was, and is completely gone now. So that'll have to be repaired. But here's a better view of the swale and where the blowout was. Alright, here I am at the upper pond. You can see it's holding water pretty decent. It's gone down maybe 12 inches in this drought, which is, I don't know, I guess I'm not going to complain too much. So the frogs are happy that it's not dry like the other one. So anyways, that is the fall tour of that. If you guys like this, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down, and please subscribe.